tonight sees the return of the racy drama Mistresses, with storylines stuffed with suspicion and infidelity. Also, it's recently been reported that Dame Vera Lynn, when speaking about her soon-to-be-released personal memoirs, said that during the war she was regularly treated with great suspicion by the wives and girlfriends of the troops, who she sent signed personal photos to because they couldn't believe she would be so kind to strangers. Suspicious of Dame Vera Lynn? Is it ever okay to be suspicious of other women when it comes to our men?
Well, sure, there are predatory women out there who, you know, probably deliberately target married men and things like that. But I don't think that gives anybody a reason to be suspicious of all women. I mean, you know, women are their own worst enemy a lot of the time. And, you know, when men have affairs with women, it's always, you know, the wife who blames the other woman. They don't blame the bloke. And actually, in all those situations, it is the married partner who is, in my eyes, completely to blame.
Completely to blame?
Yeah, no, completely, because they're the ones with the responsibility. Take the example of Sienna Miller, who was absolutely pilloried in the press. OK, she did have an affair with a married man, which is, you know, whatever you think about it, right or wrong, he was the one that was married, and he was the one that never got any stick for it. And I do think it's really unfair on women. Personally, I'm not suspicious of women. And I think a lot of it depends on, you know, who you're with. If you're with someone who you need to be suspicious of other women because you know they're weak and, you know, they might give in to another woman, then yeah. But if you're with someone who you completely know wouldn't even look at another woman, like my Mark... Well, you know, then you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, soon to be, yeah.
No, well, I think, you know, just to clarify, I don't think Sienna Miller's ever come out and actually confirmed that there was an affair while he was with his wife, and, you know, where and when it all happened, who knows.
Said the word,
but I reckon he got a bit of stick from his missus if there was any truth in it. I mean, I'm with Carol on this one. I think, well, I do think there are predatory women whose values are questionable if they, knowing that somebody is married, deliberately goes after them. I think that's kind of reprehensible, and there's plenty more fish in the sea. Why do you have to try and wreck a family or wreck somebody's marriage? However, it is up to the person who is committed and who is the responsible one to, at the end of the day, say no.
It is up to the person at the end of the day to say no. But you both just sat there and said they're predatory women. You've just sat there and said that the married person is always the one to blame.
No, yes, because they're the ones with the responsibility to someone that they happen to have a commitment to, who are married to, who have made vows to. So they are the ones who should say no.
I mean, there are women who enjoy taking other people's away from them. So
what do they do?
How can you not blame them
and take them away? No, drag them away?
No, absolutely not.
Voluntarily.
The point is, though, why do they not have any blame? Of course they have blame. I've been in the situation when people hit on my ex-husband, and yes, he did succumb, but I also know that they pushed it and pushed it and pushed it. I blame them equally as much as I blame him for having the gall to go near my husband, and one of them was a friend of mine. So how do I not blame her?
Yeah, but you didn't have a trustworthy husband. You know, you can dump your friend. She was your friend. You can dump your friend. You're not married to her. He's your husband. He's the one who's broken the vows that you had with him.
I absolutely agree, but you have
her.
She has no responsibility for actually going into a marriage and actually preying on that man.
Jane, what do you reckon?
Well, can I get a word in?
I wish you would.
Yeah, no, it's no. I'm not going to sit here and judge anybody for doing anything, because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You honestly, in certain marriages, you don't know what's going on, and some people go out of marriage to get a bit of love that they're not getting in a marriage. Now, I know it's easy for anybody to say, well, just leave. It's difficult to just leave because you've got financial, you've got kids. So I'm not going to sit and judge anybody for having affairs. But, and I had someone in my earlier years that I went out with, and he had another girlfriend at the same time as me throughout our whole relationship. And I actually only met her because she came for a job at the same place where we worked. But I actually liked her, and it was his fault, really. And I thought...
But she wasn't aware of you,
she
and
wasn't
you weren't
aware of me.
her.
I wasn't aware of her. He was very fit, obviously.
He was very busy.
You know,
but
no, it isn't, because
you met her, you would have thought...
I would have thought
it was
her fault, you know, for coming after my man. She would have probably thought it was my fault for going after her man. But actually meeting the woman, I couldn't judge. I liked her. So, I mean, there's always situations. It's not as black and white as we're all trying to think.
But you just said that she didn't know that he was with you.
No.
Right, turn it on its head. head, if she'd have known that you were with, then is she not to blame then?
Well, I don't know. I mean, sometimes bliss is a wonderful thing, Sherrie. You know?
But you mean you wouldn't? She knows that you're married to that man or whatever you were.
I wasn't married to.
All right, and he's part of you, and she comes in and preys on him, so she's got no blame whatsoever.
At the end of the day, isn't the issue more about the relationship that you have? Because if you're with somebody who is as committed and as in love with you as you are with them, they're not gonna. You've got nothing to worry about. I mean, I've had previous relationships where, you know, you try and keep the sea back, you try and keep the world away because you don't feel secure, because you're not with the right person. You're not making them happy, they're not making you happy, there are cracks in it everywhere.
Of course.
So you are suspicious of the world. But if you're in the right relationship with the right person and it's one that's got equality in it, then it doesn't matter if, you know, Miss World's knocking at the door.
And under those circumstances as well, if you were in that relationship, or rather you thought that was the relationship, you know, and he went off with somebody and had an affair, frankly, I wouldn't even want to know who the woman was. I wouldn't blame her, and I couldn't even be bothered to ask who it was. And he'd be out the door straight away, because to break that sort of trust, you know, because you have that trust and I have that trust, you know, it's not worth even talking about, is it? I don't think.
But men are weak, and you know.
So are women.
But if I
make excuses for
no,
them,
I'm
Sherrie,
not
because
making.
they're
I'm just saying, if
you
women
are.
prey on men and they know that they're married, I've been there. I've been there, and. How dare they come into that situation and prey on somebody
Sherrie,
I'm with?
don't forget, there's as many women go out and have affairs than there is men.
Of course there
Yeah,
are.
that's
Of
not
course
just one
there are.
way,
I'm just saying, blame both of them, not one.
Right, here we go with your first shot today. Stop sticking your tongues out. It's a grown-up debate.